الحمد لله الذي لم يخلق الإنسان عبثا ولم يتركه سدى بل خلقه ليذكره وكلفه ليشكره أناط سعادته وكماله بطاعته وربط شقاءه وخسرانه بمعصيته القائل أفحسبتم أنما خلقناكم عبثا وأنكم إلينا لا ترجعون وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على أفضل وأشرف وخير وأزكى خلق الله خير من جاء لهداية البشر وعلى آله وأصحابه الطيبين الطاهرين وعلى أزواجه أمهات المؤمنين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. My brothers and sisters in deen, I enjoin upon you and upon myself the fear of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. In today's sermon, we will be extracting some of the lessons we can be able to mention in two verses from Surah Al-Ma'idah, that is Surah 5th of the glorious Quran. In those verses, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is saying, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم لعن الذين كفروا من بني إسرائيل على لسان داود وعيسى بن مريم ذلك بما عصوا وكانوا يعتدون كانوا لا يتناهون عن منكر فعلوه لبئس ما كانوا يفعلون. In these noble verses of the glorious Quran, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is saying that لُعِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلِ. Cursed are the disbelievers among the children of Israel. It is Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. When Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says Banu Israel, He is referring to the descendants of Prophet Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam. You know, one of the names of Prophet Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam is Israel. Just the way our father, our first father, his name is Adam, and we are called Banu Adam, that is children of Adam. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala in this noble verse is saying that لُعِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا, that is, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala caused those who disbelieve among the children of Israel, that is, among the descendants of Prophet Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, ala lisani Dawuda, by the tongue of Prophet Dawood alayhi salatu wasalam, that is David, wa Isa bin Maryam, and Prophet Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, that is Jesus alayhi salatu wasalam. ذَلِكَ بِمَا عَصَوْا. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala went further to say that is as a result of their disobedience, وَكَانُوا يَعْتَدُونَ, and their transgression. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, as scholars always tell us from time to time, Allah do tell us the stories of the past ummah, the past generations, for us to learn lesson out of it. As Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala said, He caused them. It is not because of their race. It's not because of the family they came out from. But Allah said what? He cursed those who disbelieve. And that is applicable to anyone who disbelieves in Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, whether in our own generation or in the generations before them. So He said, لُعِنَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلِ. Cursed are those who disbelieve among the children of Israel. عَلَى لِسَانِ دَاوُدْ, by the tongue of David, وَعِيسَى بْنِ مَرْيَمْ, and Jesus the son of Mary. He said, ذَلِكَ بِمَا عَصَوْا. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala told us the reason for cursing them. ذَلِكَ بِمَا عَصَوْا, that is as a result of their disobedience. وَكَانُوا يَعْتَدُونَ, and also they transgress, that is, they go beyond limit, that is, they commit sin. They do what Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala doesn't want, that is, they commit or they do what Allah doesn't permit, And sometimes they permit what Allah, disallow. That is, either they commit haram or they abandon what Allah command them to do. That is, basically, they go contrary to Allah Ta'ala's injunction. Then Allah Ta'ala now went further to begin to list some of their disobedience, some of the crime they commit. He started by mentioning what? He said, Kanu, they were used to, Kanu la yatanahawna an munkarin fa'alu. They were not used to preventing themselves from what? The evil they do. That is, they don't advise themselves against committing what Allah Ta'ala doesn't want. They don't advise themselves from avoiding things that Allah Ta'ala dislike. And Allah Ta'ala said, لَبِئْسَ مَا كَانُوا يَفْعَلُونَ. How evil that which they do. So here we want to focus on one of the particular crime they commit. That is what? They don't advise one another. They don't admonish one another. They don't, discourage themselves from committing atrocities, from committing evil. And I want us to understand something. When we talk about haram, halal, when we talk about Allah prohibiting something and permitting something, Allah never permit anything or command you to do anything except what will benefit you. Allah never command you to do anything for his own benefit, because he doesn't need you. Allah doesn't need any of us. So whatever Allah asks you to do, they are not meant for his own benefit. They are things meant for your own benefit. Your service to Allah is what? Something for yourself. That's why he said to us in the verse of the Quran that man amila salihan, whoever does righteous deed, is for who? He said for linafsi, is for himself. He said woman asa'a, whoever does evil, fa'alayha, he is the one to suffer the consequences. So there is difference between serving Allah and serving any other thing other than Allah. When you serve Allah, the benefit of the service comes to you. But when you serve any other thing which is not Allah, and absolutely it is connected to anything, when you serve anything other than Allah, that thing benefits from you. Take for example, is if you are working in an organization, yes, it is out of what you bring in that the organization is what? Giving you something. And that is why your value in any organization is determined by what you bring, and not what they give you. What they give you is their own value. What you bring in is your own value. And that is why by the time they see that what you are bringing in is lesser than what they are giving you, they will ask you to go. It's a loss. You see, if a company has staff, and what the staff generates is less than what the company will pay them, then that means the company is running at a loss. Just like if you carry your goods to the market. So if you bring your good to the market, if what you will get from the market is less than the value of the good you bring into the market, the business is what? Is a loss. Or if one have a servant, you say what? And he told Nairobi, you see, he owns you. So whatever you have belongs what? Belongs to him. In our own perspective, then he can use it as he likes. But in most cases, as a human being, yes, you think of your own benefit in most cases before thinking of another person's benefit. And that is why, in order for you to be good to others, the Messenger of Allah told us that what? He said, you are not a believer until you like for your brother what you like for yourself. Because you will always like good for yourself. So Allah Ta'ala says, "Man amila salihan," whoever does good, فَلِنَفْسِهِ. Let's begin to take some of the things Allah Ta'ala commanded us with. Take for instance, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala commanded us not to take any soul unjustly. So if you comply, you save other people's soul, and your own soul is also saved from the hands of others. Well, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala commanded you to observe Salah. When you observe your Salah, it has health benefit for you. So many things Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala commanded you to do. He asked you to do them. When you sit down to analyze them, you will see that there are things that makes you live a good life. And that's why Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, in a related verse of the Quran, He said to us that, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, O you who believe, istajibu, answer lillahi, to Allah, walil rasuli, and also to the messenger, idha da'akum, when they both invite you to what? Lima yuhyikum, to what will give you life. Istajibu lillah, answer or respond to the call of Allah, wa lirrasuli, and to the messenger, idha da'akum, when both invite you, lima yuhyikum, to what will give you life. Allah says, yuridu Allahu bikum al-yusr wa la yuridu bikum al-usr. Allah likes ease for you. He never likes what? Difficulty for you. So Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, so He says that part of their crime, and like I said, it is not applicable to them alone. It's applicable to any ummah. That is, any ummah, any generation that are not used to stopping themselves from doing what is bad, from doing what is evil, then they are bound to suffer. And we can see the kind of societies we have today. We can see the kind of world we have today. It's not about our own country alone, it's global. And even in another verse, short surah, Allah says, wal asr, I swear by the time, innal insana, certainly man, is in what? Lafi khusr, is in loss. Who are those who are not in loss? He said, illa alladhina amanu, except those who believe, wa amilu salihati, and do righteous deeds, wa tawasaw bil haqq, and enjoin on one another truth, wa tawasaw bis sabr, and they enjoin on one another what? Patience. Yesterday we have a society whereby we cannot tell ourselves the truth. We cannot advise ourselves from avoiding what is evil. And we want to enjoy life. It's not possible. Because one rule of nature is this. Allah told us in Surah Taha, He said, woman a'rada an dhikri. Whoever goes contrary to my injunction, whoever goes contrary to my own commandments, فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ, he is going to live an unbearable life. Man a'rada an dhikri. Whoever goes contrary to my own injunction. That is, if you refuse to obey Allah, then Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala says, فَإِنَّ لَهُ مَعِيشَةً ضَنْكَ. If somebody can have a mansion, richest man in the whole world, but he is still not happy, he is still disturbed. As they say, the rich also what? Cry. Money alone doesn't give tranquility. Is anyone looking for anything? In most cases, you're looking for it for one reason. You want to what? You want to be happy. You want to have peace of mind. Peace of mind comes from only one source. And Allah clearly told us that in the Quran. He said, Alladhina amanu, those who believe, وَتَطْمَئِنُّ قُلُوبُهُمْ بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, and they have peace of mind, they have tranquility through what? The remembrance of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala say, Allah, be patient, be attentive. If you want to know the source of tranquility, say, بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, through what? The remembrance of Allah, تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبُ, the heart have what? Peace. If somebody can be sick and he's still having peace of mind. Somebody can be poor and have peace of mind. Somebody can be rich and have what? Peace of mind. Somebody can have power and have peace of mind, and somebody can have power and he doesn't have peace of mind. Because there's one thing with this life. Anything can lead to anything. Wealth can give you Jannah. I've mentioned this here before. Wealth can give you Jannah. Same wealth can also give you hell. That means wealth does not necessarily mean anything. That is, wealth can give you Jannah. Some people go to hell because of what? Their wealth. And some people go to Jannah because of their wealth. Some people go to hell because of their power, and some will go to Jannah because of their power. Some will go to hell because of their children, and some will go to Jannah because of their children. Some will go to Jannah, or some will enjoy life because of their wives, and some will have problem because of what? Their wives. Some will have problem because of their office. So anything. So that means those things on their own doesn't necessarily determine anything. What actually determines what any situation will be to you is what? How you connect to that situation. That's why Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala told us in Surah Al-Mulk. He said, Tabaraka alladhi biyadihi al-mulku wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir alladhi khalaqa al-mawta wal-hayata liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala. He said, Tabaraka alladhi biyadihi al-mulk. Glory be to He in whose hand there is what? Dominion, there is power. Wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. He has power over all things. And who is that person? He said, Alladhi khalaqa al-mawta. The one who created what? Death. You know, that is the one we don't want to hear first, right? So he started with that one. Alladhi khalaqa al-mawta. The one who created death. Wal hayata, and life. Liyabluwakum, to test us. Ayyukum ahsanu amala. Who will be what? Best indeed. So somebody will die, and it's a blessing for him. Somebody will live, is a blessing for him. Somebody will die, is a problem for him, and somebody will die is what? Will live, is a problem for him. You have in Surah Yasin, somebody died. People are worried, right? But what was he saying? He said, Allah said, Qala. He said, Ya layta, how I wish, qawmi ya'lamun. My people know. Bima ghafara li Rabbi, how Allah have forgiven me. Wa ja'alani min al-mukramin. And put me among what? Among who? The dignified ones. So you are worried he died. He is happy he died. So he's not disturbed. He didn't lose anything. So if someone does a righteous deed, so if he dies, he is happy. It's you who is alive that is worried. That's your own problem. It's not his own problem. If he is gone, he is gone. And his own concern is his own deed. He doesn't care about what he left behind. Because if one died, you that he left behind, he doesn't care about you. What matters to him is what? His own deed. And that's why even when we all die and we're all resurrected on the day of judgment, nobody bothers about anybody. What everyone cares about is what? His deed. That's why Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala described the last day as يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ وَصَاحِبَتِهِ وَبَنِيهِ لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مِّنْهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِيهِ. Allah described the last day as يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ, a day that one runs away from who? From his brother. وَأُمِّهِ, his mother. وَأُمِّهِ وَيَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ, the day one runs away from his brother. وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ, his mother and his father. وَصَاحِبَتِهِ, and his wife. وَبَنِيهِ, or his partner and his children. Why? Allah said, لِكُلِّ امْرِئٍ مِّنْهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِيهِ. That day, each person is, okay. He's satisfied with what the burden on him. That is, the burden on him is enough for him. He cannot face another person's own. And that's why we are always been reminded by scholars from time to time. Usually, the problem we have is this. We usually put one as two and two as what? One. We usually focus on what does not belong to us more than what belongs to us. Take for instance, in most cases, we dig other people's life more than digging our own lives. Yes. You dig another person's life. You want to know what another person is doing. You want to judge another person without first of all judging yourself. But a sensible person dig himself first before what? Digging another person. He judges himself first before thinking of judging someone else. He scrutinizes himself first before scrutinizing someone else. That's why the Muslim says in the hadith that Al-Kayyis, the wise one, is who? Mandana is the one who judges himself. Mandana nafsahu wa amila lima ba'da al-maut, and works for what comes after death. Wal-ajiz, the unwise one is who? Man atba'a nafsahu hawa wa tamanna ala Allah al-aman. You see, when you check yourself, you have power over yourself. You can decide what to do and what not to do. But when you put your eyes too much on another person, you can only talk. That person is the one who have power to decide what to do and what not to do. So you focus on what you don't have more influence and neglect what you have more influence on. You focus on what Allah will not ask you on first, neglecting what Allah will ask you on first. Allah will ask you about yourself before He asks you about any other person. Yes, if you want to change others, you do what? Start with yourself. Then be the example. But in our own case, you see that you want others to change. You work on others to change, but you don't work on your own self to change. And that's why in Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala is saying to us in a verse that أَتَأْمُرُونَ النَّاسَ بِالْبِرِّ. Do you enjoin on people righteousness? وَتَنْسَوْنَ أَنفُسَكُمْ, and you forget yourselves. وَأَنْتُمْ تَتْلُونَ الْكِتَابِ, while you recite the book. أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ, don't you have senses? You tell somebody fire, fire, and you are jumping into the fire. But maybe you mere seeing the fire and running away from the fire can make someone else to just begin to run from that direction without even knowing what he's running away from. You know, the way we used to see some people, you know, when there's people running towards one direction, somebody will just follow without knowing what they are running from. So how you run have what? At least saved him. Or maybe somebody sitting next to you, as he jumps up, what will happen? You will look. But if he's sitting down calm and he says, look, 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 sometimes you may not even pay attention to it because your mind will tell you there's something scary you should have. What? Cutting up. And there may be something. So, brothers and sisters, indeed, we all need to work towards preventing ourselves from what? Committing evil. And if you see someone doing something wrong, when you refuse to stop the person, a day will come that you will suffer the consequences. The Messenger said to us in a hadith that man ra'a minkum munkara, whoever sees something wrong amongst you, فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ بِيَدِهِ, he should change it with his hand. That is where you have the ability, where you have the capacity. Take for example, maybe you are a police officer and then you see somebody committing a crime. Yes, apart from talking, you have the what? The legal back into what? To easily what? Arrest him. You are doing your job. But maybe if you are not a police officer and you don't have the physical ability to easily hold the person, maybe you what do? You report to the nearest what? Police station. فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِهِ. That is, if he cannot, he should what? Stop it with what? His tongue. فَإِنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ. If he cannot, فَبِقَلْبِهِ, he should dislike it in his heart. He said, وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. That is the weakest level of iman. And consequence of evil does not only land on those who do that alone. It touches others too. As we usually give ourselves examples. Today, most of us cannot freely travel by road. Why? You are afraid of what you don't even see. Just as you are driving on the road and somebody run out of the bush, what happens? The first thinking you will have is what? Maybe they are what? Armed robbers. And maybe they are coming to help you. Why? Because you heard that they robbed somebody yesterday. So that information you had of yesterday's incidents is affecting you in your own life today. So that even if you are not robbed, that robbery is affecting you. It's affecting your thinking. It's affecting your judgment. Oh, sometimes you are moving on the road. You meet somebody who have genuine excuse trying to look for assistance from you. Sometimes you think twice before you render the assistance. Why? Because of many other people who what? Fraudulently what? Ask people for things. Not because they need, but because they just want to beg anyhow. But as a Muslim, you've been commanded by Allah wa ta'ala to help your brothers. Wallahu fi awni al-abd, ma dama al-abdu fi awni akhihi. Allah helps his servant so long as his servant helps his brothers. But you see, some people try to take advantage of that and they perpetrate what? Evil. So it makes those who even want to do are being what? Somehow discouraged from doing good. So you see, the evil done by these people is affecting these other people. Oh, sometimes elders see young children outside committing crime. They cannot discipline them anymore. Why? Because you have parents, other parents who are there, that if their own child does something, when you discipline them, they will come and fight you. So it makes today, children have no what? Discipline. A child can stay before any elder so long as it's not his own father and do what he likes. Why? Because when you talk, he say, "Are you my father?" But in the olden days, even if an elder wrongly discipline a child, when the parent is going to intervene, he will intervene decently. I remember seeing a video of parents who went to block a teacher who cut the hair of their daughter on the road and tear the teacher's clothes. Yes, the teacher is wrong for cutting the student's hair. To a certain extent, let's take it that way. But that does not justify what the parents did. They say two wrongs cannot make a right. Two wrongs cannot make a right. And sometimes, the funny thing is, as at the time the parents were taking the action, they have not first of all taken the time to ask the teacher, why did you do this? How did it happen? You see, there are decent ways of doing things. From there, even those parents have taught their own children that yes, when one wrongs you, then you have to what? Take revenge by whatever means. They've also taught their own children that yes, when something happens, if you are offended by that, don't investigate before you take an action. If someone may wrong you, but the person may have an acceptable excuse. Take for example, stealing is stealing, but because they say someone stole, does not mean you have to punish the person. Somebody can steal and you can still let the person go. But if they just told you he stole and you decided to punish the person, you may be wrong. I also remember a scenario of one of the commissioners of police in Lagos State, whom a lady, was caught either, steal some banana or some pepper like that. Some people, I think they either beat her and then naked her, rub her pepper or something like that. And after police intervened, you see, but on listening to her situation, you see, the commissioner of police released her and he gave her something. Yes, let's assume a lady who have a baby, that the baby have not eaten, and then she have struggled all means to get something she couldn't get, and she stole 1,000 naira to buy food for the baby, and now you go to kill her, or you go to wound her, without hearing her story. She committed, physically she stole, but that is under necessity. Her circumstance is what? Pardonable. You see, that's the distinction between we human beings and Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. Somebody can commit sin, and that sin may not take him to hell, but you will see it physically. You saw him committed the sin. That's your judgment. Allah's judgment is different from your own. He committed the sin, correct. But what is going to be the consequence of the sin? Leave that between him and his maker. It's not your own judgment. You cannot make a perfect judgment. Our Prophet ﷺ told us in a hadith that inna Allah, he says certainly, he did not just even went to talk straight. He said certainly Allah tajawazali, forgave his an ummati, forgave his ummah 3 things. That is 3 sins. That is 3 sins. Sins that they committed out of what? Mistake. Let's assume in your salah you're supposed to read Surah Al-Fatiha in every rak'ah, right? So if you mistakenly forget Fatiha, Allah will not put you in hell for not reciting Fatiha in that surah. Oh, if you see a bottle of Coke, somebody pour alcohol inside. So you saw what? Coke. But the content is what? Alcohol. Because you thought it's Coke and you drank it. Yes. You drank alcohol. And you drank what is haram. But you, Allah have forgiven you. But if they ask you on normal ground, what is the position of taking alcohol in Islam? It is haram. Where is taking someone where is someone drinking or who is a drunkard going? You will say where? Hell. But if they tell you that Yusuf drank alcohol, they've mentioned a name, right? And they ask you where is Yusuf going, you will say Allahu A'lam. He said Allah forgive his ummah 3 things: what they did out of mistake, what they did out of forgetfulness, and also what they've been compelled to do. Al-khata'u wal-nisyan wa mastukruhu alayh. أقول يا عباد الله أقول ما تستغفر العظيم الجليل لي ولكم وسائر المسلمين بالذنب والخطايا والغفور الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. أما بعد عباد الله أوصيكم ونفسي بتقوى الله عز وجل. Brothers indeed. So we need to always look at things or handle issues based on the guidance of Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala. We should always try to fight ourselves from being controlled by our own thinking or our emotions. But like we said, as Muslims or as responsible people, it is a responsibility upon all of us to work towards avoiding what is prohibited by Allah, and to also admonish ourselves from committing what Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala doesn't want. When you see people doing things, don't say it doesn't concern me. It concerns you. The level of concern is determined by your capability, your level of involvement. Like a story given through Prophet. He said, take for instance, maybe you have a people, that is when people see people doing things wrong and they refuse to stop them, it's like somebody, a set of people traveling in a ship that have maybe 2 levels. Those at the top, if they need water, they can easily get it. And those down will have to come up to get the water. Because they feel, we are closer to the water than them. So why do we have to be going up to what? To get our own water. Why don't we just create a hole at our own level, so that the water can be coming in, and then we can be taking our water. The Prophet said, if those up stop them, they save them and they save themselves. But if those up say, okay, no problem, that's their own side now. So whatever happens is their own business. So he said, if they leave them, they will sink and they will also sink with them. Because it's the ship that will sink. As the ship, the down goes in, what happens? The top will follow too. And that is what is happening all over the world today. People commit a lot of atrocities. And we don't advise ourselves. And at the same time, my brothers and sisters, indeed, don't fool yourself by thinking that those who love you are those who praise you, irrespective of whatever you do. Your real friends are those who can boldly tell you right, wrong. If you do the right thing, they encourage you. It leads you to success. If you do the wrong thing and they discourage you, it saves you from what? Problem. And if you move with people and always they tell you whatever you do is right, then you need to check your relationship with them. They are not telling you the truth. They say truth is bitter. Sometimes you will hear from them what you don't want to know, what you don't want to hear. Or take for example, when you go to where you listen to the word of Allah, it will hit everybody. Everybody will have something to take from there. Sometimes the preacher or the scholar or the imam is also telling you something that he himself too need to go home and work on some. Everybody have his weakness. Every human being. I usually tell my brothers and sisters, if they tell you somebody is righteous, the definition based on human being, the definition of a righteous man is someone whose good outweighs his evil. That's all. No human being is 100% upright. That's not our own nature. It is Allah who did not make us like that. So if you wake up and say, oh, I'm a righteous man, I don't have a single sin, you are the worst of the people. Because your maker did not make you like that. And that is why, because he knew he didn't make you like that, and his own way of judging you is based on reality. That's why he told us on the day of judgment, he said, فَأَمَّا مَنْ ثَقُّلَتْ مَوَازِينُ. The one whose good outweighs the evil, he said, فَهُوَ فِي عِيشَةٍ رَاضِيَةٍ. He will be what? In a pleasant, state. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَفَّتْ مَوَازِينُهُ وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَفَّتْ مَوَازِينُهُ. The one that his evil outweighs the good, he said, فَأُمُّهُ هَاوِيَةٍ. His abode is the hell. If he wants to make us 100% upright, he will make us. Because he also have another set that he made them what? 100% upright. There are creatures Allah made them what? 100% what? Upright. That is the angels. That is why if your good goes to certain level, people will say he's like an angel. The angels, Allah told us about them in the Quran. He said, لا يعصون الله ما أمرهم. They don't disobey Allah pertaining to whatever instruction He gives them. وَيَفْعَلُونَ ma yu'marun. Whatever he commands them, that is what they do. Whatever he commands them, that is what? That is what they do. And that is why the angel taking life, you will not say he is wicked. Have you ever had somebody say the angel of death is what? Is wicked? Except somebody who is not mentally okay. If rain fall, the rain will give food to some people and it will spoil some people's farm. The rain will repair some things and damage some things. If somebody's room is leaking, the angel will not say, okay, let me leave his own side, let the rain not fall there so that it does not spoil his room. Why? Because Allah told him, send down the rain within this area so it will come down. It is not his own duty to check whether your roof is leaking, not your roof is leaking. That is not his own job. His own is what? Send down the rain at this place, that's all. Whatever is there, how is that thing going to be protected? That is not his own job. So he will not even think about that. Or take for example, like the angel of death. If a driver is driving, even if you have 1 million people inside the lorry, or inside the luxurious, or inside the car, if his time, the time of the driver comes and Allah says he will die on that steering, the angel will take the life there. He will not look at those who are inside the bus, because it is not his own duty to save them. The person to save them, it is his own duty. He knows what to do. And that's why the accident can happen and some will still survive. May Allah wa ta'ala guide us all aright. So we all need to all wake up. Those close to us, your children, your family members, your friends, let's learn to be able to advise ourselves, admonish ourselves, guide ourselves. It is not easy hearing the truth, but be patient to hear it for Allah's sake. Yes, at least if you are hearing, even if you did not change 100%, your level of crime will be reducing. But if you don't want to hear, then you will be doing things bad, and then you also, people keep hailing you and you continue, and that you fall among those Allah is saying, do I tell you, bil akhsarina amala, those who have wasted their deed in this life, is alladhina dhalla sa'yuhum fil hayati dunya. They are those, who wasted their deed in this life, وَهُمْ يَحْسَبُونَ, while they were thinking, أَنَّهُمْ يُحْسُنُونَ صُنْعًا, that they were doing something good. My brothers and sisters, indeed, may Allah wa ta'ala guide us all to abstain from evil and to also admonish ourselves from going into evil. And those, who Allah wa ta'ala, who are involved in some evils, in whatever evil, may Allah wa ta'ala give them the courage, the fortitude, the consciousness of Allah to be able to withdraw out of it, so that we'll all have a successful life in this world and a better life in the hereafter. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اغفر لنا في مقامنا هذا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا كربا إلا نفسته ولا دينا إلا قضيته ولا عصيرا إلا يسرته ولا عدوا إلا خذلته ولا مبتلا إلا عافيته ولا ميتا إلا رحمته ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا والآخرة هي لك رضا ولنا فيها صلاح إلا عنتنا على قضاء خطها برحمتك الراحمين. اللهم أعن إخواننا في فلسطين. اللهم أعن إخواننا في فلسطين وفي سائر بلاد المسلمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم أعن إخواننا في فلسطين وفي سائر بلاد المسلمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم اغفر لجميع المسلمين الذين شهدوا لك بالوحدانية ولنبيك بالرسالة وماتوا على ذلك. اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم وعافهم واعف عنهم وأكرم نزلهم ووسع مدخلهم واغسلهم بالماء والثلج والبرد ونقهم من الذنوب والخطايا كما ينقى الثوب العجل من الدنس. وارحمنا اللهم برحمتك إذا صرنا إلى ما صار برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. عباد الله، إن الله يأمر بالإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله العظيم الجليل يذكركم واشكروه على آلائه ونعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون. الله